Unmanned aircraft systems, what you might call drones, are taking the next steps into our skies. The FAA today announced a partnership with BNSF to explore using drones to inspect railroad infrastructure in rural areas. Right now, most commercial use of drones is banned, but that could change. From the hobby fields,
it's just a lot of fun,
to the research fields.
Tested whether or not we can use the UAS technology to sample the entire 100 acres.
Unmanned aircraft systems, UAS, are a booming technology. But as you move beyond the lightweight hobbycraft to multi-rotor and even fixed-wing systems, not just anyone can master the controls.
It does take a little bit of time to get those skills honed in.
Travis Balthazar is a certified UAS pilot with K-State Salina. The school recently received authorization for flights statewide and use it to partner for research on everything from agriculture to inspecting utility infrastructure. Balthazar believes they've only scratched the surface.
You name an application, there's probably a UAS that could be used for it.
But right now, except for hobbyists, UAS operation is not allowed without special permission from the FAA. Seeing the potential, the FAA is in the process of rewriting regulations to loosen restrictions on commercial operation. The Kansas Department of Transportation is paralleling the process with its own series of workshops.
Unmanned aircraft system, as the FAA defines them, are going to be in our airspace. I mean, as the aviation department, we want to know how it could possibly affect us.
KDOT's interim aviation director, Tiffany Brown, says a primary concern is safety for manned aircraft. Already, the FAA says it's receiving about 60 UAS incident reports from pilots each month. And there have been security concerns, like this wayward drone landing on the White House lawn in January.
A 5-pound bird can take down an airplane, so you've got a 55-pound UAS. If they collide, a human life.
What the FAA's draft regulations do not address, however, are privacy concerns. While current users acknowledge the potential for abuse, they say that is an issue with individuals.
It's really who's operating and how they operate.
When we're talking about privacy, let's protect privacy and not affect the technology.
The atmosphere for hobbyists is one of little regulation. Even though many small craft are equipped with cameras, they do not need special permission. They must only fly below 400 feet, be 5 miles away from airports, and not fly near people or stadiums. Most hobby pilots are fine with that, as long as it doesn't ground their fun.
As long as they tell me I can come down to the middle school football field, I'm going to be good.
K-State Salina is leading the way right now in researching how drones might be used. We will give you an up-close look as we continue our report tonight on 13 News at 10. Drones are launching into the skies more than ever. Just in this past week, the FAA announced partnering with BNSF Railroad to study use of unmanned aircraft systems to inspect railroad infrastructure, and they approved using a larger-sized drone to spray farm crops. Tonight, we get a first-hand look at research being done here in Kansas that offers a window into the future.
There goes nothing.
Find a calm evening, and you'll find Scott Rhodes unwinding.
It's just a blast.
Flying his quadcopter over the Topeka skies.
I'm a videographer, producer by trade, and aerial footage is always something that's interested me.
Just don't call it a drone.
When you say drone, I think of some sort of armed military aircraft, and this is nothing even remotely similar to that.
Indeed, unmanned aircraft systems, or UAS, have soared far beyond the battlefield and the hobby field.
This eats those green things.
To places like this wheat field south of Manhattan.
The goal of what we're doing is detecting invasive species. Can we do that using UAS technologies?
Assistant entomology professor Brian McCornack is heading up a partnership between K-State's Manhattan and Salina campuses and an Australian university to see if using UAS can stop a pest infestation in food crops before it happens.
So this helps us give us a reference point?
Far from a recreational flight, researchers put markers in the field to correlate with images captured from a camera on the UAS. GPS data is programmed for the UAS to follow a path on autopilot.
And start going back and forth.
A final check with the Manhattan Air Traffic Control Tower nearby.
All right, bye.
Then it's finally takeoff. The UAS will take photos from different heights at different speeds.
This is its last trip.
Capturing, if not the bugs themselves, changes in the plants, all to answer the question, is this more efficient than their current spot checks on foot?
You spend a limited amount of time because you have plenty more places to go. But if I can fly 600 acres in 20 minutes and get a good signature, what's there, what's not there, and then make a decision to spend more time in a particular part of that field, That's a big deal.
Travis Balthazar, a certified UAS pilot from K-State Salina, is working on this project, and he's involved with several others. While the FAA studies regulations, UAS remains a field closed only to those with special permissions. In February, K-State Salina became the first entity in the nation to receive a statewide certificate of authorization for UAS flights. With it and a fleet of aircraft from small up to 55 pounds, tricked out with still cameras, video cameras, even infrared and thermal imaging, they partner for research on agricultural projects like this one, as well as disaster response, law enforcement, and industrial uses. Utility companies like Westar Energy are researching UAS for inspecting infrastructure like the blades on wind turbines. Balthazar says it's cheaper and safer.
You have systems that can stay aloft for several hours. You can launch another one as the other ones come back into land. If you have two systems, and just keep them rotating. You can switch out crews. Costs is a huge thing, and then safety. You know, these pose little risk compared to a manned helicopter.
And that's why other industries also hope the FAA allows them to get drone use off the ground. Though it's not allowed in the U.S., journalists used UAS to get this video of rescuers after the Nepal earthquake, and Amazon made headlines by mentioning delivery by drone. Foreseeing the future of flight, K-State Salina launched a bachelor's degree program in UAS in 2011. Where it goes from here, the sky's the limit.
5 to 10 years, these are really going to be everywhere.
As fast as we can say UAS, it's already changed.
But Rhodes says one thing won't change.
It's just a lot of fun.
Seeing more UAS in the skies does raise concerns. Yesterday, we looked at the development of regulations to allow commercial UAS use. You can find that information right now on WIBW.com, and a host of extras are there. A Washburn professor weighs in on what privacy protection you have from a UAS flying in your neighborhood, and extended interviews, all right now on WIBW.com.